In my career, I've been a teacher, a counselor, and administrator who went in the direction of looking at K through 12 kids that were absolutely falling through the cracks and creating programs to address those students. And working in that arena for over 25 years before coming into philanthropy to explicitly fund those same kinds of programs.
I started working at Lawrence Livermore Lab, worked in a Star Wars related project, built a nuclear pump X-ray laser that would be up in space orbiting to protect us from a first attack. We transferred that technology to build what was the first full-field digital mammography system for the early detection of breast cancer. That's the project I'm most proud of in my whole career. Then came full circle and worked in the nuclear non-proliferation arena. Got selected by NASA as a U.S. astronaut and worked for 10 years at NASA.
I worked to improve the education opportunities for all children. During my time at the U.S. Department of Education, I worked on strategy and policies ranging from early childhood education to adult education. And today, I work to identify and support the most innovative companies in education technology so that all children, regardless of their background, can leverage these resources to maximize their education.
My father was a carpenter who had originally come from Mexico as a little boy. My mother came from Texas and came out. She was a Rosie. She worked with Douglas Aircraft in Los Angeles during World War II. I really knew very little about the college process. I really had nobody going before me to help me learn any of that.
I come from a typical migrant farm working family. Our year typically began in the March timeframe, where my dad used to load up us kids, 4 of us, and my mom, and we would make a 2-day drive to Southern California. Monday through Friday, we were in school. Saturday and Sunday, we were right along the side. As long as we can walk, we can be out in the fields helping out with the family income. While every kid loved summer vacation, we dreaded it because that meant 7 days a week working in the fields here in the San Joaquin Valley. Even though they only have a 3rd grade elementary education, both my mom and dad, they valued education. Every November up here in Northern California, he would make his yearly announcement saying, kids, we're going to Mexico, get 3 months worth of homework from your teachers. March will roll around, and that whole process repeated itself.
I grew up in inner city Boston, and I attended Boston public schools from kindergarten all the way through high school graduation. And my parents were immigrants from China, and they wanted to come to America because they wanted their children to graduate from college, an opportunity that they didn't have growing up in China. My parents were blue-collar workers who didn't graduate from high school, and they wanted us to have the opportunity to pursue whatever profession we wanted.
I was watching the very last mission of the Apollo era. Apollo 17 on TV. Imagine this 10-year-old kid holding the rabbit ear antenna so you have a better signal. I remember that evening telling my father that I wanted to be an astronaut. And he looked at me and he says, you know, I think you can do it.
I remember always knowing that I was going to go because it was instilled in me by my parents and by my grandparents. I didn't know how I was going to afford it, and my parents really didn't know what they would do. I know it was a great hardship for them to send me any money to pay for my dormitory, and so I had to work right away to pay them back.
The reason why I picked the University of the Pacific in Stockton, even though it was a private college, it removed the cost of room and board. It also allowed me to keep working on the side. I always had a part-time job as a student. And believe it or not, most of it was to help with the family income, not with my tuition.
I think one of the biggest barriers to successfully making it through college is knowing how to tap into the different resources to help you answer your questions. As a first-gen student, those questions range from how do you continue to apply for financial aid beyond your first year, and how do you balance work-study and your jobs with studying for classes and pursuing different extracurricular activities. Learning to ask for help and directing those resources was something that my counselor at uAspire really helped me in the early days, and it was a lesson that I carried with me through college.
When I went to graduate school, I had a full ride. It's the first time I ever didn't have to work, and I was able to go to graduate school full-time, and I remember how easy it was.
My college experience profoundly shaped the way that I lead my life today because it taught me to work hard, to take chances, and to explore new options that I might not have thought of.
A lot of times when you talk to high school kids, they say, oh, I can't go to college. They think that money is going to be the absolute barrier, and it's not. It's not. My brother was actually the smart one, the one who could have been a doctor, a scientist, anything. And sadly, he dropped out of college. None of his kids went to college, and he had 3 kids too. Now, they've all gone on to be successful in their own way, and he's become very successful. He has his own business. But if I had one do-over, it would be to see my older brother finish. Because what I've learned is, if you don't go, they won't go. And we have to make sure that all of our kids go.
The moment I got my college diploma, I felt such incredible joy, and even more so, I felt happy for my parents, looking at them in the audience and seeing the tears in their eyes, and remembering the journey that they took 22 years ago coming to America, and their dream was for their children to have a college experience and to graduate with college. And that the moment that came across the stage and I got that diploma, I felt like I had helped fulfill a dream that they journeyed long for.